Hello, little buns. It is Steph. Welcome to Miles J's house.
Here in America.
In the lab.
I should specify. In the United States, you know, because Canada is part of America.
So is South America.
Yeah.
So really, we're just terrible people. No, I'm in LA visiting. I'm doing a bunch of collaborations and a lot of podcasts and stuff. And Miles, we've been hanging out a little bit.
Yes, we went to Shake Shack.
Yes, Shake Shack was so good.
Yes.
And, you know, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we did a Besties for Cash video with Wow Productions.
Oh my God.
Which might not be up at the way of what's up?
Little spoiler.
We made, wait, should we tell them exactly what we
Well,
made?
no, I'll just
What
say,
is-
little spoiler.
Here's a $1 bill. I mean, it's a $10 bill.
Here's some money.
In the bra. Mine now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No, I can't do that. Here you go.
Take it as a souvenir.
No. It's American.
American money!
I'll use it on the plane to buy some food. That's what I'll do. So when that is out, I'll put it in the description box, a link to it. It might not be out right away though, so like, chill, okay? Today we're going to talk a little bit about gender because a lot of people, when they first look at Miles and myself, if like, for example, even not just us, but any two people that express their genders like we both might, or what have you. Wine is good, isn't it?
It is. It's delicious.
Cheers.
Yeah.
So if people see both of us together, for example, they might just assume that we all fall under the same kind of gender expression, gender.
Same umbrella.
Right, but is that the case, Miles?
No, it's
No.
not. No.
Absolutely not. No. So we're gonna just talk a little bit about how we express our genders and how we feel about our gender. And then we're gonna compare and contrast and explain why they're different.
Right.
So like, do you wanna start or should I start with my individual analysis?
You should definitely start.
Oh, should I? Okay. Okay. Is it gonna happen?
Wait, let's see it. Oh, she died.
She went to hell.
Come on, bitch!
So my gender is, I'm a girl. That's it. Bye, no turn. I'm kidding. Okay. I was assigned male at birth.
Yes.
Right? I was born, I had a penis. The doctor was like, you're gonna grow up to be a lumberjack and have a beard. Because that's very clearly a totally reasonable thing to assume about a baby based on one body part.
That's an aesthetic.
Absolutely. I wish I could fit into that. Life would be so much easier.
Honestly,
so much easier. I'd be so fucking hot. But you know what? I would also hate everything. So we're not gonna go there. From a very young age, I gravitated towards feminine things. That does not mean that you are a girl. There have been so many articles going around lately from like cis women being like, oh, don't tell me my child's trans because they like Barbie dolls. And it's like, nobody's telling you that.
Right.
Nobody. So like, it's not an issue, okay?
Non-issue.
But I gravitated towards those things because they made me happy. And toy trucks, for example, maybe not so much. And you know, that's the whole
Was that the gist of it?
No. In school, I just didn't like hanging out with the boys, but I did because I was expected to. And I don't think children should have to feel that way.
Right.
So like, parents, like, don't pressure your kids to hang out with people based on their gender.
Please don't.
And stop sexualizing your kids' friendships. Like
Oh,
a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old like girl and boy, that does not mean, like, not a lady killer, he's just a kid. Let him relax. Jesus.
God, Christ.
Is that Jessica?
I mean, kind of.
Oh.
She was starting to
Christ.
Christ.
Yeah, that's Anyway, when I was in high school, I thought I was a big gay. I thought I was the only gay in the village, and I really was. Yeah, but I only assumed that because I liked feminine things, and I liked wearing makeup, and I wore, you know, women's clothing, and I liked men, and I thought that meant I was gay. And obviously it meant I was attracted to men, and it meant that I liked feminine things. It did not mean I was gay. It just meant those things.
Right.
Which has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a woman.
Right.
Right? Because gender and sexuality are separate. After high school, I moved to Toronto. I met trans people. I understood that they existed and that it was a totally legitimate thing. And I realized that that narrative fit my life because I was constantly feeling uncomfortable with the way that my body would develop into maleness. Oh, thank you. Am I sweating?
Slightly.
Am I sweating or just excreting beautiful fluid?
Just excreting beautiful fluid.
Thank you. I'm feeling a lot.
No! You're feeling a lot of things.
Yes. That's fine.
Cheers to that.
I decided that transitioning was gonna be best for me because it was what made me happy. It's what solved my mental health problems, what made me feel more of a person in my body, right? So somebody that does express themselves more feminine and likes men does not mean that that is going to be something that helps them because they might not even have that issue to begin with. So it really is not related to any of my interests or attractions. It's just something that is true about me. It's a fact about my personhood that is unrelated to anything else.
Right.
And that's what people don't seem to understand.
It's
So
like
do
the
you,
hardest part.
do you want to like go through yours now?
Yeah. Well, mine was just like, it started the same way. You know, I
Okay.
was interested in feminine things, Color Pink, Sailor Moon, other things. My parents didn't have a problem with that. They were just like, oh, okay, like, that's whatever. And then it pretty much got to a crescendo. Is that the word that we
Yeah,
use?
I think so.
That was like the
It's like the
reason.
high point of the musical
Yeah.
piece.
Or like the, yeah. Well, basically like,
the climax?
yeah, the climax of the situation, the realization I had was in 10th grade. I like permed my hair and like started trying new outfits and wearing eyeliner and mascara. My mom's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you wearing? I'm like, clothes. Yeah, exactly that. Miles. You're going to school like that? In those shorts? In those shorts?
Burning barrel.
Yeah, one time she said she could see my penis and I like had to leave. I was like, that's the last thing you want to hear your mother say
No,
to
totally.
you. I'm like, ew. I'm like, stop looking! She's like, I wiped your ass! What do you think? I'm like, I don't care!
I'm not an infant anymore.
Yeah, I look different now! Yeah, I started dressing out and like, it was a weird moment because I did have a lot of friends that supported me, but then I had those friends that would say, oh, you can dress like that just as long as you just don't go all
Oh,
over.
right.
You don't transition. Like, oh my god.
Like, that would be
Like,
terrible.
and I would have to
Gross.
ask them like, oh, like what's wrong with me doing that? I was just like, I don't know, like I just don't believe, like blah blah. And I'm like, well, if I want to do what I want to do, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And if you don't support that, then you know, bye girl.
Suck my ass.
Yeah, suck my whole ass. My issue was like growing up, it's like trying to figure out like what or where I fit in.
Yeah.
Like what I should call myself. So I like was bi for like a hot second.
Right.
Then I was like, okay, I'm gay for sure. Like definitely like dick. And then I was like, okay, but I also like dressing out in like feminine clothing. And then I was like, okay, yeah. And then I started like wearing bras and stuff like that and like hair. And then people were like, are you trans? Like, are you? And that's when I started doing YouTube and like, you know, getting more traction. And a lot of people were saying, oh, Miles is definitely like gonna transition like within this next year. Especially like when everyone else started coming out and like coming out as trans.
Yeah.
Like Miles any day now.
Like, I'm waiting for it.
I can see it. He's about to make that video right now, that YouTube video about his transition. And sorry to tell you, that's probably not gonna be happening anytime soon, sis. I figured out rather recently I fit into the gender non-conforming box. So it's just,
congrats.
thank y'all. Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely not just gay. Because if I was just gay, I wouldn't have like such an issue with like socializing with other gay people.
Right. Do you feel like you don't fit into that group?
100%.
Okay, that
like,
is cool.
definitely.
I definitely felt that too.
Yeah, I was just like,
It just didn't fit right. It didn't feel. It felt like something was not quite there. Right.
yeah, it's just
Oh my God.
something was off. So especially like when I talk to other gay men, they're like, oh no, like I don't know. There would be certain conversations that we would have that I just felt completely differently about, and that a lot of other gay people agreed with, and I was just like, I don't see that. And I think most of it had to do with like my femininity, and like I just really enjoy my femininity.
Yeah.
I have no problems like reveling in that. So with a lot of other gay people, that's like poisonous for them. And I feel like, especially depending on your upbringing, it could be weakness, considered as weakness, or like definitely not a good thing.
Right.
So
it's like a distraction.
yeah, or
it
you're
means
too
that you're
gay,
weak. Yeah.
femme, you know, there's
you'll
all
never
these,
find love.
exactly, just like all these negative connotations
Right.
associated with it. I'm just like, okay, but like I want my whole room to be pink. I want my room to look like Lizzie McGuire's room.
I'm like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, I have no issues with that.
Yeah.
So last year and the year before that, I've been trying to figure out like, okay, where do I go? Like
What box do I go into?
What box do I fit into? Honestly, truly.
There is no box. Wait, didn't you collab with somebody?
I did. There is no box.
It's all coming back to me.
Yes,
it was
honey.
years ago.
Yeah, there is none. Humans need to be able to address certain people as certain things, or in order to get a better understanding of like who they are.
Right.
So
It's
if
just
you
the
would
way it
need,
is.
if you would need a description for me, I would say like genderqueer, gender non-conforming, gay man.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool bean.
So,
Do you consider yourself as gender non-conforming a part of the trans umbrella, or do you consider that to be like an extension of just your maleness? Like, do you consider yourself under the umbrella or not? As like, I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. It's not like a right or wrong. I'm
just thinking about it because I've never like sat down and like, thought really hard about it.
Well, you really have to. It's up to you. You know.
True. I'm like, whatever.
You don't have to do a damn
That's
thing.
my gender.
Honestly, that's perfect.
Gender
And, like,
is whatever.
But so many people feel that way and they don't express it because they're like, oh, but I have to, you know, fit something, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
I'm just
you can
like,
be whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So I'm like, whatever.
That's perfect. Put on Facebook, listed gender, whatever.
Whatever.
Honestly.
If I could do that, I would do it.
I think you can. I think you can put in whatever you want.
Okay, then
I'm willing to do it.
Totally doing that.
If you don't, I'm going to remove you from Facebook.
Okay.
From my
Cool.
Facebook.
We just added each other though. Why?
Well.
Oh well.
Sucks to be you, I guess. Okay, well that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's examine and compare and contrast. So like we both had very similar feelings in the beginning about like not quite feeling like we fit into the role we were given as a child.
True.
And then even in high school or like around gay people, we weren't feeling quite like it was.
Yeah.
But that's because that's a sexuality and what we were dealing with is gender. And it doesn't mean that we're dealing with the same gender problem or whatever discrepancy, but that's the thing is like people can experience gender feelings and it doesn't mean that they are trans. It just means that they're not quite satisfied with how they're expressing themselves. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, and to be honest, I like was honestly pondering the thought of like, am I trans? Because like I don't fucking know. Like,
no, I certainly didn't. Nobody does until you really figure it out.
Yeah, you have to like look up stuff,
Yeah.
you know, in order to like figure out, you know, where your head is at,
Yeah.
like and what matches and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I had to do, ended up doing.
Right. Because that's what I did too, is I looked at trans YouTubers and I was like, does this narrative fit me? And I looked at other YouTubers, like I watched you, I watched all kinds of gay YouTubers and queer YouTubers across the entire spectrum and I was like, what do I relate to? And you know, you hear bits and pieces of other people's stories and other people's experiences and you just build up your own feelings.
Yeah.
And then you like make a decision or whatever.
And you're like, okay.
Okay, whatever.
I'm gonna do the thing.
I'm gonna do it. If somebody was seeing both Miles and I walk down the street, they might assume that we're both trans women or something. I don't know. They might assume that we both fall into the same expression. But I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like I feel like there's this weird need for people to know the gender of a stranger.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. And I think it comes from a place of like, that's how we've done it for so long. It's just like, it's the first thing we think of.
Yes.
But I think we're at a place where we can move past that. So how do you feel about that?
Yes to all of what you said.
Yes.
And I feel definitely it's like a conditioning issue or like, you know, you just kind of get raised into believing this is this is that.
Right.
And there's no in between.
Right.
So, and then you grow up and you're like, okay, but
That's
you
not
can actually
true.
be whatever the fuck you want.
Right. Because that's what adulthood is all about.
Yeah.
You can make crap dinner at 3 in the morning, you can smoke cigarettes, and you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So why can't that apply to gender?
Yeah.
And clothes and
Yeah,
makeup?
because that would make it too confusing. Like, that would cost more money, obviously, clearly. I don't know. I'm like, I can't find like a good reason that you wouldn't do that.
Well, I mean, I can't think of a good reason for somebody that wouldn't do it for themselves.
Exactly.
But I can think of reasons why we were taught to not do it.
Right.
Because like, for example, the fashion industry and the capitalism to do with that directly depends upon gender separation of clothing.
This is true.
Because, you know, like we don't put pockets in women's clothing so that women buy bags.
Purses.
Right. But men won't buy the accessories because they're conditioned to believe that they don't need excessive pieces of fashion. So they get pockets because then they're gonna be, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I know exactly what
it's like it goes so deep.
It really does.
But like, we don't have to do that much to break out of it. All we have to do is just say, okay, whatever, I'll buy whatever I want, I'll wear whatever I want. We don't need to change the entire industry.
Exactly.
We just need to buy the things we like. And that's how you can affect a system like that, is by just doing whatever makes you happy. You don't have to follow the grid and the blueprint. Yes.
And I feel like the moment that you deviate or go away from the
norm,
the path most walked, or whatever you want to call it, you find that there's been like different directions all along, and there's people there who are thriving and doing other things, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and like with a platform like YouTube, you can find people like us who are maybe not exactly following the blueprint that was laid out for us by tens of thousands of years of people that
conditioning,
whatever, exactly.
And rules.
But we're doing fine.
Yeah,
we're happy.
We're definitely
Are we happy?
I'm 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're happy.
Definitely.
And like, I think it's important for, especially like young kids and young queer people, to see that there are people that are older than them that are doing fine.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you have to use us as an example, use us as an example. But there are so many people, of all kinds of backgrounds, all over the internet and all over entertainment, like in general, the media in general now, that you know, you can find somebody that you can relate to. And like, you're gonna be just fine, kid. You know? You're
gonna be just fine.
You're gonna be just fine. Was that a burp or a fart? Was it fake?
It was definitely a burp.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was I knew it was from your mouth, but I didn't know if it was like you made a fake fart sound.
Like,
oh, okay. I'm gonna see it in the video. I'm gonna love it. You're gonna make it my new screensaver.
I love it. Totally.
Absolutely. My new text tone, when you text me, it'll be that sound.
It's so bad. Beautiful.
We're so feminine.
I know. I'm just like,
because clearly women are not supposed to, you know, burp because we don't have
buttholes,
organs.
Organs.
Right. We're just pretty.
Shells.
Yeah.
Bones and skin.
And a vagina.
Bing.
What would you say to a person who perceives us as the same?
Okay, I've had this happen a lot, even with cis girls that I hang out with, and I noticed that people will not only avoid me, you know, when they see my face,
right,
but they'll avoid like my whole group because, you know, by association,
right, they're trans.
If I'm trans or if I look like gender non-conforming, like some gender fuck, then like all these other girls, something's up, the jig is up. You know, so
as if trans people or gender non-conforming people can only interact in that circle and they can't integrate into the rest of society.
Right.
Which is like not true.
It's a hot ass mess sometimes. Also, I don't get mad when people confuse me for being trans because it's not obvious. You can't just look at me and be like, oh, that's a gender non-conforming person. Like they don't know. So I'm like, if someone perceives me as trans, I'll just correct them and say, no, I'm not, and then move about my day.
Right.
You know? It's not that serious.
Right.
But yeah, those are like just some of the small little things that I notice. Nothing too big, but every so once in a while it happens on YouTube and people are happy to hop in the comments and be like, no, that's not true.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah.
I hope you guys learned something from this.
You better have.
What were you gonna say?
Oh no, you better have learned something from this.
Yeah,
that's all I was telling them.
That's good though.
Better have.
Violence. Kill people. Don't kill people.
Please don't.
No. So we did a video on Miles' channel about we're reading hate comments and kind of responding to them a little bit.
Yes.
So you should go over to his channel and check them out because it was like a hoot, caboot, tooty root toot hoot, boop 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 boop. Yeah. Jessica Rabbit bangs. Hi, Jessica Rabbit. Jessica.
I wanna be loved by you.
Actually killer.
I wanna be touched by you.
I love it. So if you go over and watch Miles' video, please come back and comment something like, I watched Miles' video, so I can love you forever.
Totally. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Stef, for having me on your channel.
Thank you for having me in your house.
I'm so glad we finally got to meet.
Me too.
Like, who is this cool? Aren't you the queen of the buns?
Yeah, Bread Mom.
Bread Mom, yes.
The Breadsquad.
It's so nice to finally meet Bread Mom herself.
God bless. It's been me, Stef Sanjati, and
Miles J.
And until next time, just remember, you are super cool, and you can be whatever the fuck you want, because this is real life, and we don't have imaginary rules, okay? Thank you. Okay, bye!
Bye! Mwah!
Do I have a sweat stain?
No. You're
amazing.
Good. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Yes.
Okay. Turn on the AC!